반드시 이긴다는 생각으로 준비했습니다. 그리고 G2가 제 기대가 됩니다.
The Carmine Corp fans booing.
Last weekend, Faker got booed. Now, there's two questions here. First of all, why would anyone boo Faker? And second of all, do esports fans maybe need to lighten up? Let's answer them both. So, last weekend, League of Legends fans were treated to the Red Bull League of its Own event, which brought fresh world champions T1 to Europe for a series of exhibition matches. Zeus, Owner, Faker, Gumayusi, and Keria took place in a number of show match games, facing off in best of ones against 6 European teams. The European teams were made up of G2 and Team Heretics from the LEC, French favourites Carmine Corp from the EMEA, German ERL squads Big and Eintracht Spandau, as well as streamer team NNO Old. Even with T1 being jet-lagged and still recovering from Worlds last month, they comfortably eliminated one team after another in front of the 7,000-strong Berlin crowd, despite their handicap of not being able to select champions they played in previous matches except in the final.
He is still figuring this champ out, I feel, Dracos.
Faker up into the backside, though! 4-man ulti carry, a clean in-house!
Now, they did end up losing the final versus G2, which was a little bit of an upset, I would say, but it was undoubtedly one of the most entertaining days in the League of Legends calendar this year. Now, normally, you would expect the final of a tournament like this to be the one that drew the most viewership, but that's not what happened here. While T1's game against G2 pulled in over 370,000 viewers, it was their match versus Carmine Corp that attracted the event's peak viewership of almost 500,000 people. K-Corp have become a big name in League of Legends in recent years. Despite being a tier 2 team, their support dwarfs that of most LEC orgs. In fact, whatever the esport, their fans turn up in numbers to support them, and they're really fucking loud. In a Rocket League tournament this year, they more closely resembled European football fans than traditional esports fans.
As we can see the hype, the KC flags are already out. This isn't even a KC matchup. Dusseldorf is definitely going to be going crazier and crazier as the day continues.
So it wasn't really a surprise that they'd make some noise for their league team when T1 came to town last weekend, but some of the noise they were making raised a few eyebrows.
생각으로 준비했습니다. 그리고 G2가 제 기대가 됩니다.
That's so sad. You can't boo the GOAT.
Some people were outraged on Twitter, calling out the KC fans for booing Faker during the pre-tournament interview. There was a general sense of confusion as to why anyone would boo the League of Legends GOAT. And some K-Corp fans were keen to remind everyone that it wasn't all of them that did this and to not paint the entire fan base with the same brush. Kameto, the French streamer and founder of K-Corp, defended the org's fans on Twitter too, saying that some fans made a mistake and that they condemned that. He added that no one in T1 even cared about it based on a conversation with T1's COO. This was a sentiment echoed by K-Corp's CEO, who said they'd never encouraged their fans to boo, that the majority of fans were quick to silence those who did boo, and that their fans are more connected to traditional sports atmospheres than what esports fans are used to. Now, first off, it's important to remember that this kind of booing is probably nothing personal against Faker. He's simply the final boss of League of Legends that had arrived on the scene to take down the team that these K-Corp fans support. It's that simple. But the real question at the heart of all of this has been, did those fans cross a line by booing Faker? The answer is, of course, subjective. Those who say it's fine have often pointed to traditional sports where any member of an opposing team is taunted at every opportunity. And this is particularly true in European sporting culture. If you told a European sporting fan that you could hear some boos in the background of a player's interview, they would probably wonder what the big problem is. Booing might not be celebrated or encouraged, but it's certainly not unexpected. So the question is, should it be the same in esports? And honestly, only you can answer that. For me, do I think it's nice to boo Faker? No, not particularly. Do I think the fans should be chastised, and would I demand that they show respect to him? Probably not. There's a sense among some people that esports needs a bit more of a kick to it. Perhaps esports fans need a little thicker skin. Perhaps they should be a bit meaner to their opposition. Esports fans have always had this perception of being a little soft around the edges. They don't boo, they don't chant, they don't beat their chest, they don't have a strong dislike for their rivals, maybe they don't even support a single team. On the one hand, this helps esports to feel approachable and inclusive. It keeps it PG, it keeps it family and marketing friendly. It keeps the events feeling fun and lighthearted. And these are some of the traits that have helped the esports industry explode in popularity over the past decade. But it's resulted in tens of millions of fans that might be passionate about their scene but are largely indifferent to individual teams. They might own a team's shirt until their favorite player leaves. They might go to an event purely for the experience and have a good time regardless of who wins. Obviously, all of this is absolutely fine, and it's the norm in esports. But it couldn't be more different to traditional sports, where this kind of booing comes from, I think, where people are fanatically devoted to a team for life and have a real, lifelong dislike for their rivals. And this deep-rooted loyalty can translate well over to consistent ticket and merchandise sales, as well as media subscriptions. Would that kind of reliability and stability from a fan base help the esports industry in an era where they're struggling to monetize their tens of millions of fans? Maybe. This is obviously just a theory and only one aspect of a much larger and more complex problem, but what happened over the weekend makes it a good time to bring this kind of stuff up. Now, the side effect of more fierce, passionate, and intense loyalty from esports fans would of course be a bit more banter, perhaps some more trash talk directed at teams and individual players, and maybe even a few more boos. Obviously, nobody is saying booing will save esports, or that booing is inherently a good thing, but it has raised some interesting questions. Was it nice to boo Faker? No. Even Karmine Corp's owner has condemned it. But should fans be scolded if they do decide to boo? As an esports fan, that's up for you to decide. I think for me, coming from English football, that's a bit strange, because this whole conversation around booing Faker is so mild. That wouldn't even make the headlines in England. That wouldn't even be a tweet. You know, if you tweeted out, "Can't believe that player got booed," like, people would be like, "What? What are you talking about? That's just called a Wednesday."